So we're now back with the final 8 episodes of The Walking Dead. This is episode 17 and it's titled Lockdown. And if you haven't seen the episode and you don't want to get it spoiled for you, do not listen to this review because this review is going to contain full spoilers for the episode. You've been warned. So not only did we get a brand new intro with a lot more names added to the credits, really enjoyed that, but also the episode started off with a brief little recap of The Walking Dead from Judah's perspective, talking about how all these people who didn't know each other are now family. Some people fell into the darkness. I wonder if that's going to be every single episode of the last 8 episodes, or is each one she going to be talking about something different, maybe talking about her dad, her brother and whatever. But I really enjoyed that, and to say that I really enjoyed the episode it's an understatement. After doing 6 weeks of Tales of the Walking Dead, which is a show I didn't like, going into this episode here, it was just like a breath of fresh air. Honestly, it was amazing from start to finish. Every single subplot, every single character that was in this episode, I loved. I loved catching up with Daryl, Maggie, Carol, Negan, all these fantastic characters. Episode started off with we see Lance and the soldiers are hunting Daryl and the group. So we don't know what happened with the Oceanside yet. Did they die? Did they not? I don't know. When are we going to find out? It was a bit of annoying, kind of starting off not knowing what happened with them. I was kind of hoping by the end of the episode we would find out, but no, as of the end of the episode, we do not know what has happened to the Oceanside yet. But Lance is hunting down Daryl and the group. He is pissed off. Daryl and the group are pissed off, but we see them all talking. Daryl's like, we have to tell our people inside the Commonwealth, we have to get them out. Gabriel was saying we have to go get them now. Everyone was kind of at odds, saying should we go in, should we not. Then Daryl goes, they don't know Negan, so then their plan is to get Negan inside of the Commonwealth so he can pass on the message to Carol and everyone there. So they go about by stealing one of the Commonwealth soldiers' vehicles so then Negan can drive that off into there. We see Negan wear the Whisperer mask again, and this man just loves this mask. Of course, it's a disgusting idea of wearing someone else's face on your own face, but it's also such a genius idea. And the fact that Negan's the only one who's adapted it. Still, after we saw Maggie do it in the first half of season 11 part A, we saw her wearing the mask, but we haven't really seen someone since then. So I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen many other people adapt the idea, because it really is a smart idea. But to jump over to the Commonwealth storyline, we see the protests have finally begun. You start seeing people chant, give us Lance Hornsby, not Lance Hornsby, I do apologise, give us Sebastian Milton, going on and on how they want Sebastian. While this is going on, you see our characters, in particular Carol, who is minding the kids. The two people who are working for Lance are coming in looking for the kids, trying to track them down. She then passes the kids onto Jerry when Jerry brings Negan up. So Negan and Carol are talking about what they should do. Jerry's trying to get the kids to a secret hideout where they have been stashing all these supplies in case everything went bad, which it has gone bad. But while Jerry is bringing the kids to this place, he is being hunted down by the two people who are working for Lance Hornsby. Luckily, Jerry's able to get them to this safe place, but it was quite intense in certain moments, because I was assuming that the kids would get away, but I think what happens if the kids get away and they get Jerry? Jerry's one of those characters that he's gone through a lot, but compared to other people, not as much. During the apocalypse, this man has found a wife, he's had multiple kids now, he's happy. So Jerry's one of those characters that I feel like something is going to happen to him in the end, just because he's been so happy for so long. I'm just expecting something bad to actually happen to him. But we do get our first meeting in this episode with Negan and Mercer, and fucking hell, that was one badass scene, just seeing the two of them talking together, because they're both awesome characters, both awesome strong characters, and see them talking with each other was really something that isn't something I felt like I needed, but after watching it, I loved. It's like when we got to see Carol and Negan interact for the first time in season 10, it was like, oh yeah, it makes sense why they haven't given us these two characters interacting yet, because it's just so strong. They're both such strong characters that you feel it's such an intense scene when they're just talking. But we do get to see a massive herd making their way towards the Commonwealth. We do get to see why do I keep talking about Lance? We get to see Mercer and Rosita going out there and trying to get rid of the herd with some other with some other soldiers. going out there. Mercer tries to save a Commonwealth soldier, but in the process ends up ripping him in half while the walkers are pulling one end, Mercer's pulling the other. The man literally gets torn in half. Just an absolute brutal way to die. Getting eaten alive is one thing, but getting eaten alive while also getting ripped in half is a completely other thing, and it's just honestly seems like a horrible way to die. We do get to see Negan tell Carol all about Annie and how she's pregnant. Carol doesn't congratulate him or anything. She's just saying, oh yeah, we'll get you back there. So it's more something like she's probably thinking, going, why the hell does he get this? She's happy but also frustrated, I imagine, because of Glenn. But we do get a mention of Glenn in this episode, and I really liked it. Of course, Maggie says to Daryl, I apologize for you for having to do what you had to do to Leah. And Daryl's like, you never have to apologize to me. Glenn would have wanted me to take care of you, so I'll do anything for you, and you never have to apologize for me doing anything. And I really loved that scene. It was very reminiscent of the scene in season 7 when they're hiding underneath the Barrington house in Hilltop, and Maggie's like, why aren't you looking at me? Since you got here, you haven't spoken to me, you haven't looked at me or anything. And then they start crying and talking about Glenn. Reminded me very much of that scene, so I really loved seeing the two of them just talking about that. It's only a small scene, but I really enjoyed it. Carol and Negan are out looking for Sebastian. They want to use him to their advantage, so they are bringing Sebastian to Pamela Milton. In the process, while everyone's chanting, give us Sebastian, Negan ends up getting beaten by a Commonwealth soldier to the ground because he was trying to hide the fact that Sebastian was there. Carol and Sebastian end up going off to Pamela Milton's house, but Negan's left there, and that's the end of Negan's story for the episode. But Carol then brings him to his mother, Pamela Milton, who then immediately hugs him, then immediately smacks him, and then they come to an agreement that someone has to be blamed for what Sebastian did. And Lance Hornsby's kind of causing a bit of trouble out there, so their plan is to then blame everything Sebastian has done on Lance. So Lance seems to be taking a lot of the repercussions of the Milton household. I wonder how that's going to play down. I imagine he's not just going to take it, so I'm very interested to see how Lance goes down this path, because Lance, from when we got introduced to him first, is a completely different person than he is now. He is ruthless now. He is so angry all the time now, so I imagine maybe Lance might take a swing and maybe try and kill Sebastian or kill Pamela Milton. I wonder, will they go down that route? Because what we're seeing so far, I don't know if we're going to get the big comic death that happened at the end of the comics that led with Sebastian. I don't know if we're going to be getting something like that, just judging off this episode and what's been set up prior. There's no one who I can feel will get that death, so maybe we're going to get something mixed up here, but really interesting. We do get to see Daryl and the group underground trying to bring Sebastian. I did it the opposite way this time, trying to get Lance and the group down there. They end up getting them down there. Aaron and Annie cut the back of a soldier's legs. Daryl ends up getting Lance Hornsby by the neck with a knife, and that's how the episode ends off. Really intense, honestly, from start to finish. I loved this episode. It's great to be back in the Walking Dead universe, telling a good Walking Dead story, because since episode 16 aired, we had the back half of Fear the Walking Dead season 7. Fear the Walking Dead season 7's shit. The first half I thought was fine, second half was terrible, really annoyed me, and then we got Tales of the Walking Dead, and that was bad too, and that really annoyed me. So I'm assuming The Walking Dead is going to stick with this quality till the end, because I have nothing but faith in this series. I'm so excited to see how it wraps up. As I was watching it, of course, I was talking about that scene with Maggie and Daryl talking about Glenn. As they were down there and you saw this Commonwealth soldiers walking by, my first thought was, I wish they didn't announce all these whatever spin-off shows, because I know both of those characters are safe. As we later see in the episode, Negan and Carol going around, we know they're safe. Spin-off shows. I kind of wish they didn't announce all these spin-off shows, because then these seems to be more intense. Of course, I would never have predicted any of these characters to die. I feel like because Rick's having his own things, you're going to want all these characters to reunite, and I'd be shocked if they wanted to kill any of them off. So I knew none of them were going to die, but having it being set in stone that none of them are going to die because of these spin-offs is just a little bit disappointing. But I'm very excited to watch episode 18. I'm going to go watch episode 18 right now, so if you want to hear my thoughts on that, make sure to click that subscribe button to come back and hear my thoughts on the remaining 7 episodes of the Walking Dead series, which is honestly still a very sad thing to think that we are coming to the end of the show. But if you want to hear my thoughts on how this series wraps up, make sure to click on subscribe button so you can come back and hear them all in the future. But as always, thanks for listening.